Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. I am Ronaldo.
I am Natalia.
I am Carol.
Me and my colleagues are PhD students in mathematics education. In these presentations, we are talk about phenomenology in mathematics education. So, what is phenomenology? Phenomenology is a philosophical tradition initiated by a mathematician and philosopher called Edmund Russell in the beginning of 20th uh, century. Phenomenology can be understood as a phenomenon study.
Okay, but what is a phenomenon?
Phenomenon is what shows itself, and for it to be appearing, it must be appearing to someone. A subject with them intentionally turns themselves to that.
Sounds nice.
So, what was Husserl trying to achieve?
Russell's, with your phenomenology, seeks to explicitate the constitution of knowledge through the relation between the subjective act of knowing and the objectivity of knowledge. We, as phenomenologists, are guided by and to the things themselves. The analysis or our analysis are precisely about what appears and with ways of appearing. Phenomenologists don't make inference, predictions, deductions, but rather remain constantly in the peer view, as in opening themselves to comprehend what of the world is giving itself to them.
Okay, I get it. But what were Husserl contexts to doing phenomenology?
Okay, he was seeking to enlighten a rightful difference between the then called empirical science of the facts of knowledge and the purely normative science, such as the knowledge and logic theories. Russell remarks the fundamental problem of the epistemology, that is,
So, before we continue, there are some questions we for you guys to think about. How could we work together as scientists if science cannot agree on its foundation? How to solve the duality problem? Think about the problem of a field that has this strong dichotomy. Back then, in the beginning of Husserl's work, all the science, humanities or exact, was based on the naturalism, psychologism, and intellectualism traditions. The naturalism perspective solved the theory of knowledge problem by nullifying the duality or the difference between subject and object, stating that the only reality is nature.
Sounds weird.
Yeah, and Husserl criticizes this view. He breaks the factual science and this duality between subject and object, and he states that we only see an object if we're looking at it. So, us, both subject and object, are correlated. Therefore, phenomenologists don't see this as a fact but as a phenomenon. That is the reason it is called phenomenology.
Oh, I get it now. So, okay. Now you guys were talking about like the history of phenomenology, how they were created, but I want to know now, like, how this is going? What Husserl did?
So, uh, because of this breakage, this rupture that Husserl provoked, he ended up founding a new philosophical movement with very difficult concepts that we're going to look into a couple of them right now. So there are four main phenomenological concepts that we're going to talk about in this presentation, such as
Consciousness
intentionality,
life world,
and epoche. Okay, The first one. What is consciousness to Husserl phenomenology?
So, consciousness for Husserl in phenomenology is not understood as a set of cerebral mechanisms, but as the flow of lived experiences. And consciousness, in this sense, is always an intentional movement kept within intentionality. In this way, we can say that all consciousness is consciousness of something, therefore, never is closed within itself. And this view breaks with solipsism.
Wow. And what is intentionality?
So, intentionality is an essential characteristic of the consciousness. The term derives from the Latin terms intendo, tentum, tendere. That means look in the direction of or turning to. As Ronaldo Souza says in his thesis,
Intentionality puts us in the contact with the world, with the things themselves. It doesn't stay only on the material dimension. Consciousness is always intentional. That is, we are always turned to one thing or another.
That's awesome. So, Natalia, what is life world?
that's a great question. When, through intentionality, we turn ourselves to one another, it is presupposed that both of the people share the same environment. We're sharing a common place. So this shared world is the soil in which we inhabit with one another. And the world is constantly pre-given to us this way. And we are its awakened inhabitants. And the world presents itself as a horizon and necessarily as the universal field of every possible practices.
Oh.
So now can you tell us about
What is epoche?
what is epoche?
Epoche. The term comes from Greek. Russell chose it to design his radical method, the suspension of judgments. As Russell says, one must first lose the world through epoche to gain it back in a universal self-reflection.
Okay. I need an example because I can't understand what you are saying to me. What is epoche? I can understand.
Okay, so imagine you're meeting someone new for the first time, and your friend tells you something bad about this person. Now, you are carrying preconceptions about them. So, to go there and meet the person themselves, you should bracket in what you previously know to see what this person appears to you, not what you may already expect from them.
Because it can be true or not, right?
Exactly.
Sounds awesome. I get it. Now, guys, with all we talked to you, I would like to tell about phenomenology in mathematical education as a methodological and philosophical consideration. As mathematical educators that work under the phenomenological perspective, we should pay attention to some important issues, such as while doing research, we should analyze the data without preconceptions so as not to contaminate them with what we may expect from them. What they were talking about epoche is that to our research. And also, as a research, we don't work with previously established categories, but rather we articulate them according to what the data tell us. And in another way, as teachers or educators, we shall respect the life world of our students, valuing their lived experience. And also, we would like to remark that we're not philosophers by formation, but we are inspired by phenomenology to adopt a solid foundation for both our teaching and research practice. This way, we understand phenomenology not as a methodology to be followed, but as a rigorous stance to be assumed during all of our actions. And we'd like to tell another questions to think about, like what is necessary to a science to be considered as a science, and what is considered scientific knowledge. And there is something nice that I hope Dan can conclude with the discussion is that philosophy is also a foundation to science. And I almost forgot. Husserl influence was so big that there's a lot of philosophers that are influenced by him, such as Mark Heidegger, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, Jean-Paul Sartre, Edith Stein, Hans-Georg Gadamer, Paul Ricoeur, and etc. And we are really glad to share some of Phenomenology's discussions with you guys, and we hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Mas ficou bom. Nossa. Foi bom. Acho que a gente conseguiu num take só, velho.
Sim. Husserl criticizes this view, breaking the factual sciences and the duality between subject and object. We only see an object if we look at them. So we, object, and ourselves are correlated. Therefore, phenomenologists don't see it, but as a phenomenon.
Ficou bom, ficou bom. Eu tentei ser bem sucinta, mas tipo assim, dá pra entender. Pode continuar, amiga. Agora a gente vai começar. É que eu dei um anúncio. É porque assim, agora a gente já deu o contexto da consciousness.
Show, vai.
Que engraçadinho. Ok, consciousness. What is consciousness, Natália? Não, foi mal que eu lembrei agora.
The consciousness is an internal movement kept in the intentionality. This view breaks the solipsism.
Intentional, né? Intentional movement.
Intentional. Consciousness.
Show, vai.
And you sorry.
So.
É o Ronaldo, vai, amigo.
Pergunta pra
Nath.
And?
De novo, vamos de novo. Again.
Intentionality.
Consciousness.
Show, vai. Intentionality, as Russell says, puts us in the contact, with the world, with the things themselves.
Vamos voltar esse. A gente
Mas,
tá...
não tá gravando não, né?
Again.
The term epoche comes from Greek, and Husserl chose. The term epoche comes from Greek, and Husserl chose it to design his radical method, the suspension of judgments.
It's possible.
How so?
Well, to go there and meet persons themselves, you should bracketing what you knew
Previously. É difícil. Thank you guys for watching us. That's it.
Thank you.
Difícil. Consciousness.
Show, vai.